very excited about, and that is the production of my new book, which is To Stay Longer and Listen Deeper. I think this is 3 years writing a 500-page book about the way people sell, not what they sell, but that I'm proposing that the sale today is more about the inner place of the seller than it is about the process, or it is about the result of selling. Is that we're all looking for something that's more meaningful, that has more value in our life, and that I think there's a direct connection between the interior happiness of a salesperson and their contentment level that they deliver to themselves and the quality of value that they go out in the marketplace and they create. Because to have discontented value creators leads to very unequal and unfortunate types of behavior that center around shame and greed and status and so forth. And those are very self-serving type behaviors. And what we need today is to bring the humanity back to selling, and that the word selling actually means helping. And so the reason why I say on the front cover of the book is to live your best life and to be a great soul and to make a big impact and to learn to receive is these are really the 4 elements of being what I call interwise. And the outcome of this is what I call in-10, which is to live in an engaged way and an involved way in whatever you're creating, whatever you're doing. And so it's a way that a person can live in a 4-fold pattern of quality of being, quality of relating, quality of creating value, and then using a business or having a business, a for-profit business, as a way to create better solutions, better quality of life. But the key in the whole thing is how helping is helpful. Is that I think there's a lot of help out there that's claiming to be helpful that actually isn't. And that we have to really look at how important it is to create helpful help. So for example, we'll have the physician who is going to provide something, a solution, a prescription, or a surgery, but may not have all the understanding yet of what's really going on, because we're all faced with this thing called speed. And so the more we tend to understand something, stay longer, listen deeper, the greater solutions that we can have that really work with a fundamental change. We can be better and bigger value creators. And I've never met a leader or a salesperson that's really great at what they do that don't say listening is really the key to the whole thing. What's really behind the listening is the quality of attention that the helper is giving help with. But I also go into the helping relationship. I go into looking at the buying and the selling as one container or as one whole system. And inside that system there are perceptions and expectations that orient the way things go. And one of the perceptions of the buyer, the one needing help, is that today buyers get to their needs and they develop their needs on their own, and they do it so quickly that they present sellers with the tough task of how to really evaluate needs. And so today the sale has gone way further upstream in helping the buyer define needs in helpful help as opposed to working with existing needs. If the buyer is running with existing needs, the salesperson falls fatal to become a commodity. And that's not for a salesperson, that means thinning margins, and that means lack of sustainable business. And therefore they're not going to survive. But in order for helpful help to occur, there has to be a process where the buyer is willful in examining and evaluating needs together by the salesman, creating an atmosphere of trust. And on the sales side, we have this overwhelming push on expertise, where we think that really the game is about how to be such a seen-as expert in things. And the reality is, there are no experts, right? Everything you knew in the past, things are so complex for every engagement. What worked then may not work now, so it requires us to come at problems in more resourceful ways and to listen in ways that maybe our responses are a little different than the past. And that means the seller has to take off the mask of being the expert. And providing helpful help starts more with compassion and curiosity and the ability to connect with someone, not having a pre-existing set of knowledge or having all of these pieces of expertise where we make these claims out in the marketplace that we can really do all these things, when in reality, based on all the randomness of what's going on, the real skill sets are more about relationship-oriented stuff, respecting, listening, suspending your existing assumptions, and being able to establish a relationship. And I really saw this when I heard a quote from Humberto Maturana, who's this neurobiologist that's working on social systems in Santiago, Chile. Is he said, you don't learn math, you learn how to live with a math teacher. You learn math by living with a math teacher. That is just so true for me, because I blew math all my life, and then I had a statistics class, and I learned how to live with that teacher, and I became great at statistics. Why? Because of the way I paired with the teacher, his level of interest in me, my level of interest in him. We got along at a certain level, and it made me eager to share what was true for me. And because I was eager to share what was real and true, that actually created this scenario where we could make decisions, get better, move from A to B, see what to change, where to change. In the business segment, between a manager and a subordinate, for example, the quality of the truth-telling that's in there, the manager is selling, the manager is helping. But the subordinate has to be able to give the manager the right information to be able to examine needs and help. The mother and the son, the father and the son. Again, in all of these settings, we're all in helping roles. All of us are selling. All of us are helping. Selling means helping. So are we giving helpful help? And it starts with the quality of the relationships that we have. So this turns business into a whole new integration of spirituality and commerce, that value creation and our best innovations are going to come from how we relate with one another. It comes from community. It doesn't come from being soloists or rugged individualists or trying to go figure it out on our own. It comes from conversation and communion with others. So there's more that's going to happen in campfire talks, talking about things that are seemingly irrelevant, than getting things done and being in action mode all the time, in seeking mode, that doesn't give us any access to our own wisdom. Because really, what's behind the scenes of all this is the buyer and the seller are truly wiser than their actions precipitate. And the buyer is truly wise in helping the seller develop innovation. And the seller is truly wise in being able to position the buyer to feel safe and to be able to discuss their needs and then work on some way to get them some help, be resourceful. And so these are some of the topics in Stay Longer and Listen Deeper. And if you're an entrepreneur, a salesperson, and you're just getting started in your career, or you're long-term in your career, what this book is going to do is kind of reorient you in where you can position your starting point of every conversation, coming into it, and really putting the practices in place in terms of how you're being first. You start with quality in action, leadership. That's the method. And the interwise is how you move together and confluence your way of being, your way of creating and acting, and your way of relating with the other, such that you position opportunities. And character becomes a very important component, the interior condition of the helper. And so I would like to, again, introduce you to this work. This work is a compendium of my 20 years at coaching, hundreds of leaders, 25,000 coaching sessions, and this is what it's gone into. And there's tons of client stories. It's very integrated on a personal level, very much into business. And then you'll find in the later chapters I really get into some more practical things about how to actually run the sale, how to put your right speech in there, do the languaging component, but it's all connected to the interior heart, the quality of open mind, and the quality of being open to what wants to emerge in being conversational, and to really bring a level of reverence to the quality of thinking, back to the basis of which we can help people in helping roles. And I hope that this book goes more wide angle in helping people realize that staying longer and listening deeper has very much to do with everything we do every moment. Stay longer in the moment, listen deeper, see what arises. This is a very key thing. It's a key stance I'm suggesting we take in the world. So I do hope that you read Stay Longer, Listen Deeper. You can find it at lulu.com. I'm going to keep it there for a while. Maybe I'll get it over to Amazon or put it into somewhere else. But I self-publish. I love the ability to control what I do that way. It keeps me true to what I do, and so forth. So thank you for listening.